Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Well folks, it looks like General Hospital is getting ready to turn the heat up real high on Spoon Island, and I tell you what, I was sitting there watching the latest revelations and my heart just about jumped right out of my chest. They're saying Cassius Faison is about to get backed into a corner so tight he won't have any choice but to come clean about something big, something that's going to break Liesl heart into pieces. After everything that woman has already lost in her life, it feels downright cruel, but that's how this show likes to keep us all on the edge of our seats, isn't it? Starting the week of June 8th through the 12th, Ross Cullum is set to drag Liesl straight to Spoon Island after he kidnaps her. From what I'm hearing, Cullum needs her medical know-how to finish up some project that Britt Westbourne had been working on before everything went sideways. He's not asking nicely either. He's forcing her hand, and that puts everybody in a dangerous spot. Poor Jocelyn Jax is already being held captive somewhere on that island. And if Cullum shows up there with Liesl in tow, things could get real ugly real fast. I keep thinking about that sweet girl hiding out in one of the bedrooms, trying to stay out of sight while all this chaos swirls around her. It just makes a body worry something fierce. But here's the part that really got me. Word is Nathan is going to step up and make a shocking confession to try and save Liesl from whatever trouble she's walking into. They're hinting it might be the kind of secret that changes everything, maybe even that he's not who everybody thinks he is, but actually Nathan's twin brother. Can you imagine the look on Liesl's face if that turns out to be true? After all the pain she's carried around thinking she lost her boy, to have something like that come out now, well, it's the sort of twist that makes you put your hand over your mouth and just stare at the screen. I don't know about you, but I've been following these folks for years, and every time they pull out a family secret this big, it feels like the ground shifts under everybody's feet. I'll be honest, the more I think about it, the more my stomach knots up, worrying how Jocelyn's going to make it through all this mess. She's young and strong, sure, but being trapped while dangerous men are moving pieces around her like a chess game, that's enough to make any parent lose sleep. And Liesl, bless her heart, she's tough as nails, but even the strongest folks have a breaking point. When Cassius finally has to spill whatever he's been holding back, I've got a feeling it's going to ripple out and touch more lives than we can guess right now. These writers sure know how to keep an old fella like me coming back for more, don't they? It just tears me up thinking about how this whole mess on Spoon Island is about to unfold. Ross Cullum might not even bother dragging Liesl down to the hostage area himself. He could just hand her off to Cassius Faison and let him deal with the fallout. Either way, it sounds like Jen Sidwell is going to be the one to step forward first and announce who's stepping in to replace Britt Westbourne. That man always seems to show up when the dust is still settling, doesn't he? Before Cassius can even begin to clean up the trouble mutter left behind, Sidwell will probably make his move, and that's when things are going to get really complicated for everybody trapped down there. I keep picturing poor Jocelyn Jax stuck in the middle of all this. When Cassius brings Liesl down, unconscious from whatever happened during the kidnapping, Jocelyn is bound to have a whole mess of questions. She's smart and brave, but she's also scared and alone in that place. And once Liesl finally wakes up, you can bet she'll have questions of her own sharp ones, the kind that cut right to the bone. Cassius is going to have to explain what's really going on with that project Britt was working on, but the biggest thing he'll have to face is telling the truth about who he actually is. That confession is sitting there like a ticking clock, and when it finally comes out, I don't see how anybody walks away from it unchanged. What really got to me is what's supposed to happen on June 9th. That's when Nathan is set to make his shocking confession to Liesl. Word is he's going to tell her straight out that he's not Nathan at all. He's Nathan's twin brother. Can you imagine the look on that poor woman's face? Liesl has already buried her son once, and now she's going to have to bury him all over again. Even if some part of her heart always wondered whether his sudden return was too good to be true, hearing it out loud is going to crush her. It breaks my heart just thinking about it. She's going to have to accept that the Nathan she loved so fiercely never really came back to her, and that kind of pain doesn't heal easy at her age. And on top of everything else, Liesl is going to be hit with another shock she never saw coming. She's going to find out that Cassius survived after all these years. From what I understand, she believed that baby couldn't have made it through birth, so learning he's been alive this whole time is going to shake her to her core. Two huge truths landing on her at once. Losing Nathan for good and discovering Cassius lived well. That's more than most folks could carry without stumbling. I keep thinking about how she's going to feel when the pieces finally fall into place, and it just makes me want to reach through the screen and give her a hug. Meanwhile, Jocelyn is still down there in danger, trying to stay hidden and figure out who she can trust. With Cassius having to explain the project and face Liesl's questions, anything could happen in those rooms. One wrong move and the whole situation could explode. These writers sure know how to pile on the heartbreak and the suspense at the same time, don't they? Every time I think I've got a handle on where the story is headed, they pull the rug out from under us again. I'll be sitting right here, waiting to see how Liesl picks up the pieces after all this. Because if there's one thing I've learned watching General Hospital all these years, it's that this woman is stronger than most people give her credit for, even when her world keeps falling apart around her. It just breaks your heart to think about how deep these secrets run and how many lives they're still touching all these years later. When Cassius finally has to lay it all out, he's going to tell Liesl that hiding him away was Cesar Faison's idea from the very beginning. That's going to open up a whole flood of questions and explanations, the kind that make a person's head spin and their heart ache all over again. I can just imagine Liesl sitting there, trying to make sense of it all, while her world keeps shifting under her feet. She's already lost so much, and now she has to hear that the man she once loved kept this enormous secret from her too. It's the sort of thing that makes you sit back in your chair and just shake your head, wondering how these folks ever find the strength to keep going. And if Liesl decides she's had enough and refuses to help finish that prototype, Sidwell and Cullum are so set on, well, things could get even more dangerous than they already are. Cassius might have to lay out the cold hard truth that there could be deadly consequences if she doesn't play along. I don't like thinking about threats like that hanging over her head, but I know this show doesn't shy away from showing us how ugly things can get when powerful men are involved. What really got to me, though, is hearing that Cassius might even admit he feels just as trapped as she does right now. Two people caught in the same ugly web, both hurting in their own ways, both carrying burdens they never asked for. It makes you realize that sometimes the people we think are the villains are just as much victims of the past as anybody else. Through all of this, I keep coming back to Jocelyn. That girl has already been through more than anybody her age should have to bear, and now she's right smack in the middle of this tangled mess on Spoon Island. From what I'm hearing, she's not going to stay quiet for long. There's going to come a moment when she finds her voice and speaks up, and I've got a feeling it's going to change the direction of everything happening down there. All in all, this part of General Hospital is shaping up to be one of those storylines that stays with you long after the episode ends. Between Cassius having to face his past, Liesl wrestling with fresh heartbreak and impossible choices, and Jocelyn stepping into the fray with that fire she's always had, there's plenty to keep us all guessing and hoping. I'll be right here with my coffee and my remote, ready to see how these folks find their way through the storm. These characters have become like old friends to me over the years, and even when the writers put them through the ringer, I keep coming back because I believe in their strength and their hearts. It'll be something special to watch when Jocelyn finally speaks up and makes her presence known in all this chaos. I have a feeling she's going to remind us all why we root for the underdogs in the first place.